It's horrible.
For those that may be less familiar or need a refresher, and I'm happy to show this, I was at the location, I guess it was a few months ago, but just to give folks a sense of where this is and what's going on, it's within the Triangle of Terror, as I call it, Canton, Dedham, Stoughton. And this is right at the border between Canton and Stoughton. And this is the complex in which Sandra Birchmore lived. And as we continue, we'll see, I'm going to walk up to the building, and then it transitions into the video of the suspect now arrested and charged with not just the death of Sandra Birchmore, but her unborn child. That's the front of the building in which she lived. And what we'll see, if you don't remember the way this thing unfolded, was she had been in, it was a cold, very cold day. She had been outside scraping her car windows. And this is me looking through the door into the lobby area, which you now will see is the lobby area in which there's Sandra, and she goes out. She scraped her car windows. I think at the time she was really bundled up during one of her ins and outs. I think that looks like the mail drop. But then at 9-ish, there she goes, bundled up for the scraping. And then this was at 5:44 p.m. She goes out, comes back pretty quickly. You can see it's kind of a double chambered entry into that office or into that building. There she is with the scraper. You can only get in if you either have a fob or somebody lets you in. It's pretty well secured. And so the only way this guy coming in now, this is Matthew Farwell. This is at 9:27. The only way he gets in there is either because he's buzzed in or as some other access has been allowed to him. That was 9:27, right? Now, 56, 30-ish minutes later, he leaves. And now that we know what's happened in that time frame, it's just chilling to see that guy come and go from that, whether he's the one who did it or not, innocent till proven guilty. It's just it's frightening. So anyway, you
It
learn that
shows the
he's
audacity. Sorry.
yeah. Go ahead.
It just shows the audacity of him, how they feel like they can get away with anything, because he knew where the cameras were. He's not stupid. He probably thought that he was going to get away with it or something along those lines. And it just it's insane. It's insanity to me. It's crazy the fact that people literally think that they can get away with so much stuff. And yet I always tell people, I'm like, I've worked a lot in financial services, like mortgage loan officer, fraud, risk, ACH, and things like that. People don't understand. There's a camera at an ATM. Your everything can be tracked. Like, even if you don't think it's being tracked, your financial transactions are being tracked. There's paper flows everywhere. Even if you don't think that there's paper, don't do crimes, and you'll be fine. It's just nuts.
That's
It's so
simple.
crazy to me.
Yeah, simple. So then you hear more recently that he was also charged with the death of her unborn child, which
Hmm.
originally people thought was his.
Yeah.
And then it was subsequently learned that, in fact, it was not, which opens up a whole bunch of questions then about, allegations that Sandra Birchmore was essentially being trafficked within the department.
Yeah.
And those things are all unproven, undetermined, but talked about. And now that we know the baby she was carrying was not Matthew Farwell's, it just makes you wonder what the hell was happening to this young girl before she died. What did you think when the feds added that murder charge for the unborn child?
I was really happy. I kind of have you understand this when you're dealing with different. So long story short, I went through a federal investigation that was 5 years here in Chicago. I am going to be talking about it. People are in jail now. My experience with the federal case is I witnessed a 5 year in quote unquote investigation with a lot of backdoor deals being done that were, quite honestly, I was a witness. I had no part in it. Nothing that I was just a witness of it. I witnessed the federal government take 5 years because certain prosecutors did not want to touch the case. It was a wire case of involving trucking, and that is really big here. And judges would just pass it off and things like that and move it down the road because nobody wanted to touch it during election years. So when I tell people be patient, the feds do stuff on their own times. It's because they have a 97% conviction rate. Like almost nobody beats the feds. And I was just I mean, I was happy for the baby, but I think about all the time the most chilling thing is the fact that he left her apartment, killing, well, allegedly unaliving her and the baby, and then went to his wife who was having his baby.
Yeah,
Like
his fourth child. Yeah.
his fourth child. And it is just, it makes me want to vomit, quite honestly.
So, what do you expect is going to happen? A lot of the proceedings were delayed, and
Mm-hmm.
there was thought, well, maybe he's working out a deal. He's going to roll over on maybe his brother or others. That hasn't happened yet. Remember, they have till January to decide whether or not they're going to go for the death penalty, which, of course, Massachusetts does not have, but the federal system does.
Mm-hmm.
So something's happening now. We
Mm-hmm.
aren't seeing it above the surface, but something's bubbling underneath that's going to impact that January decision. What do you think might be happening? What's your speculation?
Well, I think that there's a lot of well, to say this, I think a lot of backdoor deals are being done. I think that he's probably flipped by now. That's just my opinion. They're putting on, the media will not, know this from Afghanistan, the media will not tell you um like more than 25%. It depends on their advertisers, which is why Justice Serve TV is so, and like Turtle Boy are so imperative to being out there and sharing what's really going on, because the news will never really tell you. Um, I think it's a lot bigger like spider web of corruption that is being investigated. But I really do think that he flipped. I really, really do. And I think that they're just fluffing things off and watching. That's just what I think.
Do you think his brother is a target as well?
Um, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
How about Divine? Is that the guy's name?
yeah. I think he will. I honestly think that all of those guys are targets for something because they are connected to other people that they have dirt on, that they can easily get out of charges and things like that. But they know a lot of dirt on a lot of people, so I feel like there's going to be a push. I feel like there's going to be a push in the next like few months, especially just because also the feds don't want to leave this on the table forever. You know what I mean? And this has been going on for how long?
Yeah, well, that decision regarding the death penalty it's eminent. I mean, that's
Yeah,
January is the deadline. They had 90 days, I think it was, to determine whether or not they're going for it. And I
yeah.
think that's the only leverage they've got at this point.
Mhm.
If he's gonna either roll over on other people or take a deal
Yeah.
himself, which takes the death penalty off the table. Obviously, if they decide to go after the death penalty up to the time of trial, he can still maneuver to help himself and avoid the death penalty. But this is
Yeah.
a pivotal time coming up in the next month or so. And I know we have Mizzy on regularly to get an update. When you're ready
Mhm.
with your information that you believe you
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
and can share more than you've been able to share tonight, obviously we would appreciate hearing you
And
on
I
those.
appreciate you having me on. I just want to say this because trolls love to make fun of things. I used to go on live streams and things like that a lot, like before COVID. Unfortunately, I went through some not great things revolving to be blunt, a domestic violence situation where my brain got kind of rocked, and plus the post military stuff has kicked in. So I don't talk the way that I used to. So I've had people talk about that before. So I just want to make that very clear to people that you shouldn't make fun of people the way that they talk and things like that, because you don't know what they're going through, what their injuries are and things like that. So just want to let everybody know that on the chat. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
but thank you
well,
everybody for being here.
yeah, there is a lot of good and a lot of bad in
Yeah.
this environment, and you
Yep.
really have to protect yourself and sift through and be better.